Hey, everybody. Welcome to the show. Is it a show? Welcome to the live stream. I'm sure my microphone is turned on this time. Last time I talked, I ran my stupid mouth for about a minute without anyone hearing what I was saying, just typing into the chat furiously. We can't hear you. But here I am on our second Friday live stream, which I think is going to become a regular thing. Anyway, there is all kinds of stuff going on. The impeachment right now, Donald Trump's lawyers, my co-host Brittany Page, she's at Brittany E. Page on Twitter, just tweeted a few minutes ago that effectively the defense of Donald Trump being put on by his lawyers right now is just reading all the tweets that he would have tweeted over the course of these last few weeks hadn't he been banned from Twitter. And that's really effectively what it is. They are not putting on a defense. If you look at a regular trial, like if someone hurts somebody or robs from someone and they go on trial, they put on a defense of why the person wasn't there, wasn't the person who did it, didn't do it. They don't say, well, Jerry, he robbed a bank too. Or this other guy, he did some bad stuff. Why are you trying to prosecute my guy? And that's what this is. It's just what they did last time. So anyway, if you have questions, if you have comments, that is what this is for. Let's talk about what is on your mind. Let's amplify your point of view. Kevin, will Trump actually be impeached for the second time, or will he be banned? Okay, this is a common misconception, and maybe it's a technicality about words, but Trump has already been impeached twice. The impeachment happens in the House, and then it goes to the Senate for trial, and then they either convict or acquit. And then there's a second part if he is convicted, and that is removal when he's in office, and then there's a vote to forbid him from running for office, a federal office, ever again. So he's already been impeached twice. The only president in the history of the country to ever be impeached twice. And it's unlikely he's going to be removed. So good question. It's one I get all the time. So it's worth for sure touching on. Jesse, I love your show. Thank you. Brandon, one question. What can Democrats do to win the Senate seats in Pennsylvania and Wisconsin in 2022? Well, the Senate in Wisconsin would be Johnson, who is one of the biggest Trump sycophants in the Senate. I would say if I was running a campaign against him, would be to talk about this impeachment nonstop for 2 years, because Ron Johnson is almost absolutely going to be a no vote on conviction. And it would be to talk about this, that he is setting the stage. He is allowing for a future president to lose an election and to enter into a campaign of trying to overturn the results of that free and fair democratic election, even if it means violence, even if it means death. And he is setting the stage because Republicans are finding themselves in a position where they can't win democratically. They need to find other ways to win. And even if that means to cheat, even if that means to overturn normative behaviors of our democratic system. And that's what I would do. I would talk about this moment in history right now, going into 2022. Thanks for the question, Brandon. Appreciate it. Richard Andrew Swain again joining us. Last week he was a big presence on the live stream. Mr. Dollemore, very formal. If you had to fight in one of those battles, which one would you choose? Would it be the halls of Montezuma, 1847, or the shores of Tripoli, 1905? Well, I believe by shores of Tripoli, you don't mean 1905. That was actually when Thomas Jefferson was president. So it wasn't in the 1900s. It wasn't in the 20th century. I don't know. Fighting in any war is terrible, but when you don't have technological comforts, I think it would be even worse. So I would not have chosen to be in any war, really any time. But if forced into a decision, it would have to be more modern times. So thanks for the question. Cindy D, will we see a split Republican Party? I say that the Trump Party and the Lincoln Project Party. What do you think? I have conflicting views about the Lincoln Project people. One, I believe that they exist obviously in opposition to Trump, but I believe that their more underlying goal, which I believe is a sinister one, is to push the Democratic Party right, to make it more of a center-right party like the Republicans were maybe 50 years ago. And so I don't know. I don't know how happy I am about their involvement in our politics, but I don't foresee a split in the Republican Party. Brittany, my co-host, and I were talking yesterday about some article that dozens of Republicans are now talking about creating a new party. And there's dozens of Republicans among the millions. Really, that I'm sure they're really going to make a big splash. But I don't see a split. I think the Republican Party is going to become something probably a little different, but they're still going to be the Republican Party. Thanks for the question. By the way, I'm not running the questions today, huh? Fancy. Got somebody at the helm. Brian. Oh, he became a YouTube channel member. That is awesome. I talk about this at the end of every video. If you don't get to the end of every video, you miss out on me. A call to action to ask that you consider becoming a channel member, which entails just clicking the button at the bottom of the video. It says join. You can click it and see what the perks are. And I talk about the fact that if I'm able to marshal the size of my audience, which is now 280,000 or so, but if I was get 1 or 2% of my audience to become channel members for $1.99 a month, I would be completely untethered from YouTube's nonsense about monetization. YouTube just demonetized the video that I did about Josh Hawley and Ted Cruz and their participation in the insurrection. And the reason they gave is because there was sexual imagery in the video, like bare breasts. I'm not kidding. That is the actual. I'll take a screenshot and I'll put it in the community tab. You can see what kind of nonsense people who work in my space on YouTube have to deal with relative to monetization and YouTube. I don't want to turn this into a cry and whine session about it, but it's not great. So thank you very much, Carrie Caldwell. Also just became a channel member, but also asking about my dog. If I look tired right now, and I do look very tired right now, is because I got almost no sleep last night because my dog had surgery yesterday to remove his ear canal and middle ear. And he's just like, there's not even a hole in his ear anymore going into his ear. It's just sewed closed. And they removed his ear canal, which oddly enough, it's just like it's like a tube. It's like one piece they could just take out. And he's not doing great. I mean, he's doing great. He's on the road to recovery, but anytime you go through a surgery like that, it's a bummer. And he was no sleep. Neither he nor me nor Brittany Page. So another question. Thank you, Carrie. I appreciate the concern. We love you. Hi, Jesse. As a former Republican, what do you think about the 120 former GOP officials meeting to discuss forming a new party? Do you think it's a good move? Stepping aside and looking at it from a 30,000-foot view, I guess. We just talked about this. I don't think it's going to happen. If you think about all the millions of Republicans out there and 120 are going to start this upstart party, I don't see that it's going to be effective. But do I welcome any kind of new party that's going to step away from white supremacy, that's going to step away from the fascist leanings, that's going to step away from aggressive tactics of voter suppression? Yeah, that would be great. It would be nice to be able to enter into policy discussions in good faith, and that's not what we have right now with the current Republican Party. Thanks, Kath. Joshua became a YouTube channel member. That is awesome. I appreciate it so much. Ed Green, what's the point of even doing this impeachment trial when the Democrats know they won't have enough Republican votes to convict? That is a fantastic question. The point is to get it on the historical record. The point is that not only are the Democrat House managers, not only are they presenting a case before the Senate, the jurors in the Senate, they're also presenting the case to the United States public. We are getting to see the narrative, which helps not just to indict Donald Trump and know the sinister method with which he used to effectuate this insurrection. It also means we get to watch the evidence that the Republicans are ultimately going to reject. It means every person out there watching who's paying attention and loves their country and cares about the outcome is going to know that Republicans want this to happen again. Because if you say it's okay, if you say it's legal, if you say it's constitutional for a president to incite a violent insurrection against the Congress, against the United States Capitol building, if you say it's good, it's okay, it's constitutional, that means it's okay to happen again. And every single Republican who votes to acquit Donald Trump needs to be remembered and ousted from office via constitutional, democratic methods. Not violence, not an insurrection, not using their methods, using lawful methods. Great question, Ed. Salih Hassan. Mr. Dollemore, another very formal Mr. Dollemore. I feel like I should get a top hat and a monocle. Keep up the good work. Northern Cyprus follows you. Thank you. I appreciate it. I'm sorry if I botched your name. Why isn't Chief Justice Roberts presiding over the Senate trial as laid out in the Constitution? Awesome. Very good question. Again, it's kind of a technicality. The Constitution prescribes that when a president is being impeached, that the Chief Justice of the United States will preside. That is so because normally the vice president would preside. The reason that is the case is because they don't want a vice president who is the second in line to the president and involved with the administration to be involved in the trial. But since in our country, we only have one president at a time, Joe Biden is the president right now. Donald Trump is the former president. There's no need for the Chief Justice to be involved. Now, if they had, when the House sent the impeachment articles to the Senate, when Donald Trump was actually president, and Mitch McConnell decided, we're not going to have a trial, then the Chief Justice would have come over had Mitch McConnell done the right thing. But because he chose to obstruct, as is what he does, there's no need for that now because Donald Trump's already out of office. I hope that answers your question. That is absolutely, Peter, the reason. Brandon, why are the Democrats using the impeachment instead of using the 14th Amendment? Well, one, because it is the method by which that you remove the removal's off the table now because he's already gone, but it's the method by which you forbid a person from running for federal office again. Also, there's a lot of talk about these other amendments, the 25th and the 14th. There's a lot of moving parts with those other ones. This is the most simple constitutional method by which to deal with the problem that we have right now. And that's what they've chosen to do. Good question. Thank you. Courtney Jones, thanks for the super. By the way, thanks for the super chats, everybody. I very much appreciate it. All of your support goes a long way to support this channel, grow this operation, to become something a lot more advanced and have a lot more reach than it does right now. So you guys are beautiful. I appreciate it very much. What do you think should happen to Graham, Hawley, and Cruz or any other Republicans who has private meetings with the Trump lawyers? Is it unethical? Yeah. Is it bad optics? Is it terrible? All those things, yes. The problem with it is this is not a criminal trial. So some of those standards for trial don't really apply. Look, I think it's shitty. Absolutely, I do. But Article 1, Section 3 of the Constitution gives the Senate the sole power and authority to try an impeachment trial. So I don't know that there's anything technically wrong or disqualifying about it, other than the common sense nature that jurors shouldn't go meet with the defense team. That wouldn't happen in a criminal trial because it would be against the rules, against the law. Not so much with an impeachment, because this is inherently a political process. But absolutely, yeah, they need to be, I don't want to use imagery like smacked for it, but they need to be checked for it. They need to be held accountable. Absolutely. I am a new member and want to know what made you start this show. Judith Davis. Well, I don't want to go too back in history, but 7 years ago, Brittany Page and I started. Brittany Page should put her Twitter link up in the chat. But 7 years ago, Brittany and I decided to start a podcast. That is I Doubt It Podcast, which is on iTunes and everywhere the podcasts are. And it started there. Now we're going on 750 episodes. We do roughly 2 episodes a week. And I did a few videos about human and civil rights related to the same-sex marriage. And I did some videos. And then Tommy Lahren came on the scene. And I did a couple reaction videos. And they seem to be popular. A couple of them have, 700,000 views. And I was like, wow, well, there's an appetite out there for some of the stuff that I think and say. So I did that every few months or every few weeks. It wasn't like a regular thing. And then slowly I got more and more into the video. And I think it's important. One, the reason I do what I do with the voicemails, and especially on the podcast, we play every episode, we're playing voicemails from listeners. The reason I do that is because I am lucky. It is luck that I have the platform that I do. It is not because I'm super skillful or genius or really smart or I know the secret sauce. It is luck, dumb luck. So why not use the platform I have to try to amplify your views, your opinions, and your voices? I mean, I'm not indicting anybody for not doing the things that I do. Just I'm passionate about moving the conversation forward and putting forward views that aren't just mine, but are also random other people who haven't been as lucky as me to get the platform that I have. So thank you for the question, Judith. I appreciate it. Just a dude, man. Or is it just a dude, man? Became a channel member. Thank you. Joshua, your thoughts on spineless Lindsey Graham's current bootlicking and his future in DC? Lindsey Graham's future in DC is pretty solid, unless the people of South Carolina can come to their senses and get rid of him. This last time, it wasn't really even as close as everybody thought it would be or hoped it would be with Jamie Harrison, his opponent in South Carolina. Lindsey Graham is a fixture. Lindsey Graham has been around a long time, and he has always been able to. He's a chameleon in this way that he used to try to come across as a moderate and be, chumming up to John McCain. And then as soon as Donald Trump came along, I believe he showed his true colors, and that is of a simp, of a servile dog who laps at the boots of Donald Trump and doesn't mind the deterioration of our republic. So I don't know, unless South Carolina can get it together, we're stuck with Lindsey Graham, as sad as that is. Andrew Glasgow. Do the Democrats have the power to get rid of the Electoral College? Do you think they will? No, the Democrats on their own do not have the power to get rid of the Electoral College. It's going to take a constitutional amendment, which is a massive, massive undertaking. It's going to take legislation that takes a supermajority in both houses. It's going to take the president of the United States signing it. And then it takes ratification by the states. And I believe the number is 3/4 of the states have to ratify the amendment to the Constitution. And I don't know that there would be, because look, you've got states out there that the Electoral College greatly benefits. Idaho, Utah, Wyoming, Montana, North Dakota, South Dakota, Nebraska. these states are aided by the assistance of the Electoral College, and Republicans would be absolutely against it, because if we were to turn our elections from actual one person, one vote, Republicans wouldn't win. The Republicans have only won the popular vote in the presidential election one time in over 30 years. One time. So they don't want to get rid of the Electoral College, the anti-democratic Electoral College. It's just what it is. Because when you see those maps, one more thing, when you see those maps that are all red and little places of blue, all that red, like in Idaho and Wyoming and across the Midwest, they're filled with no people, just land. Land doesn't get a vote. Land doesn't participate in a democracy. Voting people do, citizens do. And where the citizens live are in larger, more populated areas. I grew up in a small town. I graduated with like 73 other kids in my high school. I understand the effects of this, but the fact of the matter is every vote should count. One vote, one person. Good question. Do you think allowing more than two parties in the November election is a good thing? Yes, of course. I think as many parties as want to be involved. There's nothing written down that we are a two-party system. That just kind of happened. I talked a little bit about it last week on the live stream, that the reason it's hard for a third party, a viable third party, to raise its head and make a mark on an election is that every time a third party comes up with a good idea or an idea that resonates with the people, one of the two major parties soak in that good idea and take it on board as their own. Like right now, Medicare for All is picking up steam as an idea, and people really like it. That's a more progressive, more left-wing type of ideology that hasn't been adopted by the Democratic Party. But now that it's picking up steam and now that it's popular, all of a sudden, more mainstream Democrats are starting to endorse it and embrace it. So it's going to be tough for a third party to pick up any kind of momentum at all. Thanks, Teresa. Anthony, what's your thoughts on the GOP senator's private meeting with Trump's defense team? Not great, terrible, unethical. There's chicanery afoot, as I think they say. But because of Article 1, Section 3 of the Constitution, that the Senate has the sole authority and the sole power to prosecute, to try an impeachment in the Senate, there's really no, the way I understand it, there's no prohibition to it. So what are your thoughts on Nikki Haley renouncing Trump today, despite bolstering him in the past? She was complicit. Will the gaslighting ever stop? You answered it, Paul. I don't need to even really say anything. What I would say is, to the question of what are my thoughts on Nikki Haley renouncing Trump today, is it's about time. Also, it's a little late, Nikki. For you served this fascist as his UN ambassador. You were against him, then you were for him and defended him, and now you're against him again? No, that's not the way it works. Absolutely not. Get the F out of here. Chris Wood, thank you so much for starting this. I look forward to it all week. Could you call Tucker Carlson a googly-eyed feather duster again? I just did it. If you mean in a video, yes. The answer is yes. I'm going to hopefully, when I have the time or the energy to sit down and start watching his show, does not sound appealing. I don't look forward to it. I'm going to start taking on some of the white supremacy views of Tucker Carlson, more on the reg than I do. Up to this point, I've kind of waited until it was like, couldn't take it anymore. The straw that broke the camel's back. I had to say something, but he needs to be addressed, because now that Trump is gone and doesn't have a platform on Twitter or Facebook or whatever, Tucker Carlson he's the mouthpiece for the respectable white supremacist. Obviously, there is no respectable white supremacist, but they're hoodwinked. They're bamboozled by the shirt and tie and the slick talk and the millionaire prep school trust fund persona they're he is a very frustrating character, and he's also a googly-eyed feather duster. So yeah, you look forward to more Tucker Carlson stuff. Headlines: how do we begin to de-Trumpify the GOP, if at all possible? We don't begin to do that. How we do that, as the American people, I guess, maybe not as Democrats, is to vote them out of office, is to take the results for this likely acquittal in the Senate and take it into 2022 and one by one get them out of office. One by one, beat them at the ballot box and get rid of them, letting them know that we have no appetite. The American people have no appetite for anti-democratic machinations of destroying our democracy, of destroying our republic and our time-tested tradition of peaceful transfer of power, which they are doing. So good question. I graduated with 18 classmates. Jesse, small school, how many in your class? I believe it was 73 or 74. It's been a long time. It's been almost as long since I've been a Republican. By the way, it's not like 2 weeks ago I stopped being a Republican. Kathleen, love your show. Jesse, keep safe. Kathy from South Africa. Thank you. Stay safe. That is something I should actually end my videos with, is stay safe, be genuine, and take care of one another, because right now we are all at risk. And I don't know how it is in South Africa, but there are far too many people who are rejecting the use of a mask to try, because they don't care about their neighbor, because that's what it's about. It's not about politics anyway. That's a whole nother topic. Rick, add DC and Puerto Rico. Absolutely add DC and Puerto Rico. I did get some pushback for that video, because it's not a cut and dry case on the island of Puerto Rico whether or not they want to be a state. But in my opinion, and they're American citizens, I'm an American citizen, I think all of our opinions matter here. It would be best for the island, because a representative government and being represented. I mean, for me, it's either they need to be their own country and disentangled from the United States, or be a state, because they would be truly represented in Congress and have equal footing with every other state in the union. So, and I understand that there's a difference of opinion. Dumb luck? Nah, we love your political sensibility and humor. Well, I appreciate that. And I still will maintain that it's a lucky thing, because there's a lot of people out there on YouTube who are more talented and smarter than me, who don't have the platform that I have. So it's not necessarily strictly or purely a meritocracy. There's a lot of elements that go into it, and luck is the largest among them. So Ant Mink. What was your reasoning for being a Republican, and what changed your mind about being one? It's an easy answer, is I was raised that way. I was raised in a hyper-conservative, fundamentalist, evangelical, nutter butter family. And it's like being told that the sky is red, and you don't know that it's blue, because that color to you is red. And it only takes getting out into the world and getting away from the people you were raised by to realize people don't recognize that color as red. It's blue. So that's what it was. And, when I became an adult and started reading materials that weren't provided to me by my circle, my church, my parents, I started realizing the world wasn't what it was presented to me as. So I had no choice. The two other main reasons that I left the Republican Party is because of their refusal to embrace civil rights and human rights, both related to the struggle in the LGBTQ community and also the Black community. The sinister methods and strategy to disenfranchise Black Americans is disgusting, un-American, unconstitutional, and anti-democratic. And I'm not going to be a part of that. And that, even when I was a Republican, those things very much bothered me, and it hastened my departure. So, just a dude, man. Awesome. Thank you very much for the super chat. That is fantastic. Do you think an acquittal is the beginning of the end of the Republican Party as a viable party in the United States? I asked because if 45 is acquitted, he stays relevant and most likely starts a third party of nutbags. Well, then we would have three parties. I don't believe that's going to happen, but we would have three parties, two filled with nutbags, and one, the Democrats, that's only partially filled with nutbags. Except, they're not racist, white supremacist nutbags. So let me address them. I don't believe that the acquittal is the beginning of the end of the Republican Party. Maybe the beginning of the end of the Republican Party only because it will be the beginning of the end of the Republic. I'm an optimist. I've been an optimist for a long time, and I actually get called out for being too optimistic on my podcast. And it has only been recently. Give me a second here. It has only been recently that I have started talking about our republic being in tatters. That we're facing a real big threat right now that does, forgive the repeat of the word, threatens to destroy the Union. Because if we're at a place where Republicans believe it is okay to attempt to overthrow the government of the United States and then just walk away into the sunset if you fail, and there will be no consequences, what are we going to do when one of the two major parties in the United States believes that? 70 million people voted. 6 million fewer voted for Donald Trump than for Joe Biden. The tenuous, scary times. Yeah, I don't know. I wish I had answers. I feel uncomfortable that I don't have a more solid grasp on what I think is going to happen. I don't like uncertainty, like anybody. So thank you for the question and for the super chat. I appreciate it. The Shawshank Inception. I should have a good name like these, Is there any hope for the Republican Party? I think no, because even their conservative principles are sometimes unintentionally racially motivated and in the interest of big corporations. I agree with that. I disagree in part because I don't believe they are unintentionally racially motivated. Because voter ID is not unintentionally racially motivated. I have played a series of clips in several different videos over the course of the years of state Republican Party officials admitting on camera, saying the quiet part out loud, that we had photo ID in place and it should help get a Republican elected. If photo ID has nothing to do with anything other than voter security, election security, then why would it help Republicans? There's one former Republican official in North Carolina who said if it's going to help, if it's going to keep a bunch of lazy blacks from getting to the polls, quote unquote, that's what he said, then so be it, he said. The thing I'm using right now doesn't allow me just to play clips. Otherwise, I would find it and play it. It is not unintentional. It is surgical. In fact, a federal court has found that with surgical precision, Republicans have tried to suppress the vote of black and brown people in America because it's bad for their particular elections. So I don't think there's hope for the Republican Party. How do you go from being virulently racist to being a party of goodwill? TNG 2112. How do we hold our elected officials accountable? Keep up the good work. That's how you keep them accountable. You keep up the good work. I realize that's not what you meant by that, but well, I'll tell you how. It's to be true in what you, for instance, this morning, I tweeted about Andrew Cuomo, the governor of New York, who it just has been revealed reported 8,500 nursing home deaths due to COVID, when the number was actually almost double that, like 15,500. And the reason they gave for lying to the American public, for suppressing the real number of deaths, is because they didn't want, what did they say? Hang on, I'll find it. because this is important. Governor Cuomo, this is my tweet. Governor Cuomo reported 8,500 nursing home COVID deaths. The real number was nearly twice that. The reason they gave, they thought it was, quote, was going to be used against us, and we weren't sure if there was going to be an investigation. If Donald Trump had done that and given this reason, we would all be screaming on our rooftops for Donald Trump to resign, for Donald Trump to be impeached. But because it's a Democrat, everybody's quiet. Because it's a Democrat, this tweet only has 20 likes. That's how we keep our elected officials accountable. You hold them to the same standard. You don't cut a break to Andrew Cuomo because he's got a D next to his name when he does something that would cause you outrage if Donald Trump did it. I know I'm fired up. I'm not angry at you guys. I'm just bothered by Democrats who let other Democrats off the hook for doing things that are bad. Music. Super chat. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Why are we not hearing anything about the murderers who killed the Capitol police officer being arrested? They have been arrested, or they are in process of being arrested. There have been hundreds of arrests. There will be hundreds more, in my estimation. And it takes, let me back up. A little over a year ago, I served for a year and a half, I served on a federal grand jury, hearing federal cases. To get an indictment, you have to impanel a grand jury, and they have to hear the evidence and vote to indict or not to indict. So there's a process in place relative to the justice system that isn't super swift. Now, they can make arrests and then make their case. They can certainly do that, and I think that's what they're doing right now. If I know that is what they're doing right now. So we aren't hearing anything because it's until it goes to court, you're not going to be hearing a bunch of details because they're not going to be giving away their side of the case by making all these details public. I want to know too. I would love to know exactly what's going on, but we're going to see an escalation in charging from the charging documents that are coming out. Some of these people who are just being charged with trespassing or forcefully entering government property or whatever, I think a lot of those cases are going to be accelerated and enhanced with more charges once all of this footage and all this documentation that's been released gets to be a chance to be gone over by investigators. So it's a good question. Funk Bone. What's your take on all the fake Blue Lives Matter nuts who are quiet ever since the cop was killed in the terrorist attack on January 6th? It is something to behold, is it not, Funk? It is remarkable. Where are they? Where are all the people who have Blue Lives Matter flags in their profile pictures? Where are they? Where are their calls? Where's their outrage? Where are their calls for arrests? They're not there. Which lets you know that Blue Lives Matter, I didn't come up with this. It's all over online, but it never meant Blue Lives Matter. It only meant Black Lives Don't Matter. That's the only rational explanation that I can find. Great question. Thank you. Anthony Wilson. I'm the true definition of integrity. I appreciate that. Keep doing what you were doing. Semper Fi, brother. Well, Semper Fi. I don't know that I'm the true definition of integrity. I'm as fallible as anybody else. I'm just maybe less afraid to buck against the party that I am registered as. Maybe that's it. Thank you, though. I appreciate it very much. Chris Wood, serious question this time. What's your opinion on Biden's effort to extradite Julian Assange? Yeah, this is another thing that Democrats and liberals don't like about me. I think Julian Assange is guilty. He's a rapist, so F that guy. And two, he had an active role in interfering in our free and fair democratic election, teaming up with the Russians. So I don't care. I don't care if he spends the rest of his life in prison. That might make me unpopular. I don't necessarily feel that way about Snowden. I don't feel that way about Reality Winner. So he's a special case of bad for the world. He has committed crimes that he needs to be held accountable for. And I understand people disagree. We can agree, or we can disagree in an agreeable manner. And I think that's in this case probably what we will end up doing. Willow Artistry, Charleston, South Carolina. Thank you for the super chat. Beautiful. I appreciate it. Given that this trial is rigged for acquittal based on party, should and can the structure of these trials be changed so that the jurors are not already decided? Unfortunately, I think the answer is no, because I've been saying these numbers over and over this morning. Article 1, Section 2 of the Constitution gives the House the sole power of impeachment. Article 1, Section 3 of the Constitution gives the Senate the sole power to hold a trial. They set their rules. Sometimes they set them as they go along. Sometimes they're different from the time before. And it is inherently a political process. It is extricated from the criminal justice system. So we're not looking for an actual conviction where there's going to be jail time. It is to remove them from office so they can do no more damage. In Donald Trump's case, since he's already out of office, it is to remove him from the possibility of ever running for office again in a position to do more damage. So I wish there was a better answer, but there just isn't. Draconius King, super chat, thank you. There are around 700 watching, but only about 200 likes. Come on, people. Yeah. The video's right there. The little thumbs up. Is it a thumbs up? You just click it. The little click. Little like. You know what it does? Here's why YouTubers say to like, comment, subscribe, share this video. It's because when a video gets released on YouTube, the more action it gets right away, the more likely the algorithm is to suggest that video to other people, which turns them on. We'll just talk about my channel. It turns them on to my content who may have never seen me before. I get emails and voicemails every single day from people saying, "Where have you been? I've never seen you before." And I love it. It's humbling to me. It's awesome, but you may love me, you may hate me too, but I mean, you've been watching me maybe for years. There's people who've never seen my stupid face before. So doing those things helps a lot. I will shut up about YouTube BS. Ramon Barrow, thanks for the super chat. Ramon, what was the most important thing you heard in the closing argument yesterday? Excuse me, as I make a bunch of mouth and nose noise. I think, Ramon, that the most, or is it Rumon? Anyway, sorry. I think that the most important thing is something that I repeated a couple times this morning, and that is the fact that if Republicans allow this to happen, if they acquit, it means they believe that what Donald Trump did was correct. It was right. It was constitutional. It was legal. And if it's legal and right and constitutional and okay, that means the next president can do the same exact thing with the same exact outcome and nothing can be done. That, to me, ripples throughout history into the future, into future generations, as a wild threat to the existence of our country, to the existence of our republic. And that's why I'm not as confident as I once was that we'll always be around. Yeah, we'll have troubles, but we'll get through it. Because I don't know how much we can withstand, how many more of those types of attacks we can withstand, especially when they learn from their mistakes. They see what worked and see what didn't work. So the next time they plan an insurrection, maybe not at the behest of a sitting president of the United States, the next time it may have different results. And it's sad. It's a bummer. Thank you for the question. First Fam West. It's like when people have their usernames like that, it's hard for, it's like looking at a personalized license plate and trying to figure out what it says. I have been subscribed to your channel for nearly a year now. I'm a Californian. I want to know from your perspective on the Democratic Party, are they better than the old guard? I'm not sure exactly what you mean. Listen, I am a registered Democrat, happy to be a registered Democrat. But if the Democratic Party started going astray, like en masse, I mean, there's certainly problems. Our governor, Gavin Newsom, not a fan. He makes these edicts about COVID, about dining, about social distancing, and then violates them himself because, you know, what is good for thee is not good for me. Do as I say, not as I do. Not a fan. I don't like hypocrisy. But to the question, unless the Democratic Party en masse or as a large portion of the policy went crazy, I'm happy to be a Democrat. But if they did go a little nutty, I would be out of here. And you're going to hear me talk bad about it. You're going to hear me call them and hold them accountable because that's just how I'm wired, I guess. I'm not going to be party to BS. Jose Luis Antonon. Sorry, I'm so bad with names. Kudos for being a Republican willing to tell the truth about what the GOP doing to bow down to Trump. Why are Donald Jr. and Rudy have not been accused yet? They also incited the crowd. One, as a matter of clarification, I am no longer a Republican and haven't been a Republican for decades. It's been a long time since I've been a registered Republican. A long time. But why are Donald Jr. and Rudy, why have they not been accused yet? One, it would take the investigation to go that way. I think Biden, one, is doing the right thing by not being involved relative to charging and directing his Justice Department to do what he wants it to do. That's not his role. The Justice Department should be an independent entity, not like it was under Trump. But I think there should be an investigation. I think they should be held accountable. Because when there isn't accountability, all it does is show the American people. Look, there's a reason that I have this right behind me. Lady Justice. Because justice matters. And it matters, moreover, that powerful people, rich people, connected people, influential people face the same consequences as those of us out of power. We shouldn't have a two-tiered justice system. One where if you're Donald Trump, you get off the hook, but if you're Joe Schmo or Juliet Schmo, you get crushed under the weight of the judiciary in the United States. It's untenable. It's unacceptable, and we should all be outraged by it. Thank you for your question. The world we live in, 77B guy. That's a lot. That's a mouthful of a username. Thank you for the super chat. My name is Marco. Thank you for the super chat, Marco. I want to thank you sincerely for giving a damn about racial inequalities and justice. It speaks volume. I rarely miss your videos. Thank you. And I don't need to be thanked for my concern about social justice. I've never understood what kind of a party, what kind of people want to mock or ridicule or make it a bad thing to be passionate about social justice, about racial equality, about human rights. You're a bad person if you mock someone because they are passionate about justice of any kind, equality, equity in our society. And yeah, if you are out there and you have thought social justice, yeah, you need to rethink that. It is the lifeblood of healing our republic Is everyone being treated the same? I shouldn't have the privilege of walking through the world as a white guy, knowing that I'm not going to get screwed with by the cops, knowing that if I get pulled over, and this has happened, that I can get snarky with a cop. That's a privilege, but everybody should have that privilege. It shouldn't be a privilege. It should be the norm. Anyway, I appreciate your appreciation very much. Man, come on with these names. Nissa Sphinx. Thank you for the super chat. The impeachment is just a show. The impeachment is just a clown show because Republicans will let Trump go. They have no spine. Yeah. It isn't a clown show from the perspective of there will be an impact, though, because people are watching. They're seeing the evidence be laid out, and we will hold it against Republicans next time they come up for re-election. Absolutely. It also opens people's eyes all across the country, maybe even some Republicans who thought that their party was actually noble and that, oh, no, they really think this about what they believe. We're getting ready to witness in a matter of a few hours, maybe Monday or so, we're going to witness that Republicans don't care at all about the country. They don't care about justice. All they care about is party power. That's it. Remaining in power. Thank you for that. I've got about 6 minutes. So if you got your questions, get them in. And while some questions are coming in, I want to say this. Thank you for being here. It is a humbling thing, and I'm not just saying it because people say it. It really is a humbling thing that anybody would tune in to watch my lips flap and listen to this stupid sound come out of my pie hole. I almost dropped the F-bomb. You guys are fantastic. And follow me on social media. Follow Brittany E. Page on social media. She's running the comments over there. She should just type in what her Twitter address is. You guys are awesome. Subscribe. Tell your friends. Share my videos. That is great. Richard Andrew Swain. 1805. Sorry, I'm such a fool. No, it's, you typed it in wrong. Do you think Trump is more likely to pay? That was from an earlier question about the shores of Tripoli. He's a historian of sorts, apparently. Do you think Trump is more likely to pay for his state crimes than his federal crimes? Yes. If we're talking about likelihood and odds, yeah, I think that Donald Trump is far more likely. I think it is possible. I don't know about likely on the federal side of things, but he is far more likely to face consequences in a state court like New York and even in Georgia now. I did a video the other day about there was a probe looking into the phone call. Now there's an actual criminal investigation being launched by the district attorney in Fulton County, Georgia, looking into what took place on that call with Donald Trump and the Secretary of State in Georgia, Brad Raffensperger. So, look, if we're going to leave it up to the legislature in Georgia, probably nothing would happen. But now that it's in the hands of the judicial system, there's a chance. But to answer your question plainly, yes, I think it's more likely he would pay in state courts and local courts than in federal court. Barbara Chick 26. Hello, new to the channel, new channel member here. Thank you so much. I love the way you think and the fact that you speak your mind. Well, that is good, because if you didn't like it, that would be a bummer for you, because that is the only way I know how to operate. Mr. K, fantastic. 10 pounds, super chat. I'm a retired, not by choice, member of Her Majesty's Royal Marine Commandos. I've trained with Royal Marines. Good folks. And then British trooper of 34 years active duty. My first vote was stay in the EU, as it was totally a racist vote. I don't know enough about Brexit to speak authoritatively on it, or feel like I have enough juice to talk about it. But I do believe that it was, I think this is pretty plain, that it was that The fear was stoked by immigration, which is always a racist red herring. And in that token, yeah, I think it is racist. But hopefully, by some method or some ability, you guys will get back into the EU, because the European Union isn't just it is an economic tool, but it is a tool for peace in Europe. Because when you are tied to another country by economy, by trade, and you have a financial interest in things, you don't tend to start war and kill each other, because you have things in common. And that is, I think, the most important aspect of the European Union. Anyway, we got more. Robert Abrams, not that you need to. Do you see yourself collaborating with other YouTube streams? I would love to. Yeah, I'm, excuse me, having a rough time here. No sleep does not do my throat any good. Robert, I would love to. I don't know how I would go about that, because I don't know a lot of other creators. I'm a one-man band here. Luckily, I've got a beautiful and talented and scholarly co-host and wife, partner in podcast production and partner in life, who's able to help me out here and there with YouTube. But I barely leave the house, brother. But I would love to. If you know somebody, send them an email. Everybody, send somebody an email. Peter Hamby, $10, drinking a delicious drink in his profile picture. I heard from you, Ring of Fire, Young Turks, that Trump won't be convicted thanks to GOP senators. Any method to keep the memories of their decision to stay in the Trumpian cult instead of justice? Any method to keep them? Yeah, the memory is you, me, us. We need to do our job and make sure that people do not forget. When it comes time around, that media organizations, we need to hold everybody to account to remember this vote. Remember what took place. You know, all the 9/11 never forget things. Yeah, this is another one of those moments. Never forget that Republicans are willing to, eager to not have Trump face consequences for a crime that has never been seen in the history of our republic. That a sitting United States president dispatched a mob to murder, to assassinate a vice president. That is what happened. I don't know. Old Bat Two Cats? Are you just picking funny usernames, Brittany? Thank you for the super chat. You are awesome. Thank you for being a channel member. You are awesome. That's what drives me crazy about Bloomberg and Cuomo. We don't need nannies. We need the truth and representation for everyone. P.S. I miss your Tommy Lahren takedowns. Did she fall from grace? I don't know what she's doing. I never was really on, I've never followed her on Twitter, I don't think. She's on Fox Nation. Apparently, I'm being told she's on Fox Nation, which is like a subscription YouTube. It's like a website that you can stream content. Then occasionally she goes on Fox and Friends with those dummies to voice her learned opinion about things. Aria Hope, super chat, no comment. Thank you so much. That's fantastic. Seriously, it's beautiful, you guys. I love the support. It is awesome. David McGaw became a YouTube channel member. Handsome fella, David McGaw. I love you guys. I appreciate you. It's been an hour, and I think I'm going to go take a nap because I am tired. At the beginning of the stream, I don't know if you were around, I talked about my dog, Popeye, my 9-year-old bulldog, Popeye, who had his ear canal surgically removed. Well, there would really be no other way to remove the ear canal other than surgically. They took his ear canal and his middle ear out last night. They sewed his ear closed because he was suffering from a treatment-resistant ear infection. They actually had to get a bone saw because the ear canal calcified and turned into anyway, it's just a nightmare. I love you guys. I appreciate you. I'll see you next Friday. I'm going to start doing these every week. I think they're fun. I think they're informative. It gives you guys a voice. Tell your friend about the channel. If you have somebody who you think might enjoy, share my video with them. Like, comment, subscribe, do all those things. We are in this together. When I say be genuine and take care of one another, I mean it. It's not a catchy thing so I can make t-shirts out of it. I didn't even think of that. Somebody else thought of that for me. We are a team. You know, I've got a camera and a microphone, but I want to amplify your voice too. Anyway, I love you. I'll see you next Friday. You guys are the best.